The Galactic Concordat's emergency session erupted into chaos as Admiral Elena Santos materialized in their chambers without warning. No alarms had sounded. No sensors had detected her approach. She simply appeared, wearing an unadorned black uniform with a single silver pin, Earth's new emblem of a phoenix rising from a spiral galaxy. The 1,000 assembled delegates, representing species from crystal beings to gas-form intelligences, fell silent. Their most sophisticated detection systems were failing to scan her. She might as well have been a ghost. Honorable representatives, Elena's voice carried effortlessly through the vast chamber. I come bearing greetings from Earth, and a confession. First Speaker Kix, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate mechanical shell, moved forward. Humans aren't permitted in these chambers. Your species hasn't even achieved reliable interstellar travel. Guards. About that. Elena's smile carried centuries of hidden knowledge. We achieved reliable interstellar travel in 2157. That's nearly 50 years ago. The chamber erupted again. Delegates consulted frantically with their AI advisors, which were all confirming the same thing. No human vessels had ever been detected beyond their solar system. Impossible, Kix declared. Our monitoring stations have been watching exactly what we wanted them to watch, Elena interrupted. Those fumbling attempts at fusion drives, the failed quantum experiments, all carefully staged. While your observers documented our primitive efforts, our real ships were passing undetected through your territories. She raised her hand, and the chamber's main display activated, bypassing all security protocols. It showed thousands of human vessels suddenly appearing throughout Concordat space as they deactivated their cloaking systems. Some were massive carriers, others sleek corvettes. All of them had been there for years, invisible and waiting. Let me be clear, Elena continued. This isn't an invasion. It's an introduction. Earth could have struck without warning, but we chose to reveal ourselves because we believe in diplomacy. We've had decades to study your cultures, learn your languages, understand your politics. We know the Concordat is stagnating. Internal conflicts are rising. Piracy is rampant in the outer systems. We can help. First Speaker Kix's energy form fluctuated with barely contained rage. You infiltrated our space, spied on our peoples, and now you threaten us with military force while claiming to come in peace. Not a threat. A demonstration. Your sensors can't detect our ships. Your weapons can't target them. Your AIs can't hack them. But rather than use these advantages for conquest, we're offering partnership. Elena's expression softened. Humanity learned long ago that true strength comes from cooperation, not domination. We hid our capabilities not out of malice, but because we needed to understand who we were dealing with. She gestured, and the display changed to show scientific and technological schematics. These are gifts, solutions to your energy crisis, improvements to your FTL drives, medical breakthroughs your scientists have been pursuing for centuries, freely given as a show of good faith. The chamber had grown quiet again, but now with a different quality. The delegates were studying the schematics, and even their advanced minds were grasping the implications. This wasn't just new technology, it was revolutionary. Humanity is ready to join the galactic community, Elena concluded. Not as supplicants, not as conquerors, but as equals. We bring new perspectives, new solutions, and yes, new powers to the table. The question is, are you ready to accept us as we truly are? First Speaker Kix was silent for a long moment, their energy form shifting through complex patterns that reflected deep calculation. Finally, they spoke. The Concordat must deliberate on this unprecedented situation. Elena nodded. Of course. Our fleet will remain in position, cloaked, until you reach a decision. For everyone's safety, naturally. Her smile returned. After all, we're not the only ones who have been hiding our true nature from the galaxy, are we, First Speaker? Kix's energy form pulsed with shock, and Elena knew her barb had hit home. Humanity wasn't the only species playing a long game in the galaxy, but they had just changed all the rules. As Elena prepared to depart, she left them with one final thought. We'll await your response. But remember, you've only seen what we chose to reveal. Humanity hopes for friendship, but we're prepared for any outcome. The galaxy is about to change. The only question is whether we make that change together or in opposition. With that, she vanished as mysteriously as she had appeared, leaving the Galactic Concordat to face a future that had suddenly become far more complex and far more interesting than anyone had imagined. The Concordat's most advanced scout ship, Stellar Seeker, dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of what their star charts labeled as uninhabited space. Captain Zixivith's crystalline form sparkled with anticipation as their sensors swept the seemingly empty sector. After Admiral Santos's shocking revelation, the Concordat had dispatched dozens of vessels to verify humanity's claims. What they found exceeded their worst fears. Captain, the sensor officer's tentacles wavered in disbelief. We're detecting artificial gravity signatures everywhere. The main viewport shifted to show what their enhanced scans had discovered. Hundreds of human settlements scattered across asteroids and small planetoids. Space stations hidden within gas giants' atmospheres. Mining operations in supposedly dead systems. An entire civilization had been operating under their nose, completely invisible to standard detection methods. Impossible. Zexivith whispered, their crystalline body pulsing with patterns of shock. The nearest human world should be 15 light-years from here. A new voice filled the bridge, smooth and amused. Actually, we're about 30 meters to your starboard side. The entire crew turned to face the viewport. Slowly, like paint dissolving from a canvas in reverse, a human station materialized next to them. It was massive, easily dwarfing their scout ship, its dark hull seeming to drink in the starlight. This is Station Director Sarah Chen of New Horizon Alpha, the voice continued. Welcome to human space. Though technically, you've been in human space for the last 6 hours. Zexivith's command crystal pulsed with alarm. They had detected nothing during their approach. Their most sophisticated sensors hadn't registered a single anomaly until now. How many? They demanded. How many settlements do you have in our territory? Your territory. Sarah's laugh was gentle but carried an edge. The Concordat never settled these systems, never explored them properly, never even bothered to look closely at them because your initial surveys deemed them resourceless. We found plenty of resources. You just didn't know how to look. The sensor officer's display suddenly lit up with new signatures as more human installations revealed themselves. Space stations, shipyards, research facilities, an entire infrastructure network that had been invisible moments before. While your people were watching our primitive attempts at spaceflight on Earth, Sarah explained, we were out here, building, learning, growing. Those resources you thought were worthless. We turned them into technologies your scientists thought impossible. A small shuttle detached from the station, approaching the Stellar Seeker. I'm authorized to offer you a tour of our facilities. A gesture of goodwill. The Concordat needs to understand that humanity isn't just technologically advanced. We're everywhere, and we have been for a long time. Zexivith's form pulsed with patterns of confusion and worry. Their mission had been to verify human capabilities. But this was beyond anything they had imagined. Your stealth technology, it's perfect. How? Not perfect, Sarah corrected. Just different. We learned early that the best way to hide wasn't to block scanning beams or absorb radiation. It was to make ourselves so mundane, so ordinary, that your sensors would register us as background noise. Empty space. Dead rocks. Your civilization built its detection systems to find what you expected to find. We simply learned to exist in the spaces between your expectations. The shuttle had nearly reached them now. Through its viewport, Zexivith could see Sarah Chen, a small, unassuming human female with silver-streaked black hair and laugh lines around her eyes. She didn't look like someone who had helped orchestrate one of the greatest deceptions in galactic history. "The tour will take about 6 hours," Sarah said. "Fair warning. What you learn here will change how you see everything. Every empty sector, every dead system, every piece of space you thought you knew." She paused. "The galaxy is a lot more crowded than you thought, Captain. Humanity has made sure of that." As HFY prepared to board the shuttle, they received an encrypted transmission from Concordat High Command. Similar discoveries were being reported across dozens of sectors. Human settlements had been found in supposedly empty systems throughout Concordat space. The implications were staggering. Humanity hadn't just hidden their technological advancement. They had hidden their entire expansion into space, while the galaxy's major powers had watched Earth. Thinking they were containing a primitive species, that same species had quietly spread throughout their territory, building an invisible empire in the spaces between the stars. The game had changed. The galaxy's balance of power hadn't just shifted, it had been revealed as an illusion. And as HFY boarded the shuttle to learn just how deep that illusion went, they couldn't help but wonder, what else were the humans hiding? Supreme Commander Yarthak of the Concordat Defense Fleet stood before the Emergency Council, their bioluminescent scales pulsing with barely contained fury. The holographic displays surrounding them showed thousands of human installations, ships, and colonies, all recently discovered throughout Concordat space. "This infiltration cannot stand," Yarthak's translator boomed across the chamber. "I propose immediate military action. We must strike before they entrench themselves further." The chamber's AI projected a new image, a massive human dreadnought that had decloaked near the Concordat's capital world just hours ago. Its hull was midnight black, stretching nearly 5 kilometers in length. The ship's name was written in glowing letters, PC Keeper. First Speaker Kex's energy form flickered with concern. "The humans claim this vessel is merely an embassy ship. An embassy ship with enough firepower to level a continent," Yarthak snarled. "I've analyzed its weapon systems. Their technology isn't just advanced. It operates on principles we barely understand." The chamber doors slid open, and Admiral Elena Santos walked in again, this time accompanied by a tall, dark-skinned man in a simple gray suit. "Then perhaps," the man said, "you should listen very carefully to what we have to say." Director Marcus Chen, Elena introduced him, head of Human Strategic Operations. Yarthak's scales flashed warning patterns. "You dare enter this chamber without permission." Marcus smiled. "Like the permission you sought before placing surveillance devices throughout Earth's solar system, or the permission you sought before attempting to hack our planetary defense networks, or perhaps the permission you sought before dispatching assassination teams to eliminate our key scientists." The chamber fell silent. Marcus walked to the center of the room, each step measured and calm. "We detected every operation, stopped every attempt, and rather than retaliating, we studied, learned, prepared." He gestured, and new holographic displays appeared, showing footage of Concordat Black Ops teams being quietly captured, their memories altered and released, never knowing they had failed. "Your people thought they were succeeding. That's what we wanted you to think. Every failed attempt taught us more about your methods, your technology, your weaknesses." "Is this a threat?" First Speaker Kix demanded. "No," Marcus replied. "This is a reminder. You're preparing to issue an ultimatum demanding human withdrawal from Concordat space. You have a fleet of 10,000 ships ready to enforce it. You believe you have surprise on your side." His expression hardened. "You don't." The displays changed again, showing massive human fleet formations throughout Concordat space, all declocking simultaneously. Not thousands of ships, hundreds of thousands, each one utilizing technology that the Concordat's best scientists had deemed impossible. "While you were watching our public space program launch chemical rockets," Marcus continued, "we were building these. While you were infiltrating our secret research facilities, our real laboratories were developing technologies you haven't even imagined yet. Every move you made against us was anticipated, countered, and turned to our advantage. Elena stepped forward. The Concordat has two options. Continue your plans for military action, in which case you'll learn exactly why we spent 50 years preparing for war while praying for peace. Or, she smiled, accept that the galaxy has changed. Work with us. Let us help you advance beyond the technological plateau you've been stuck on for centuries. Help us? Yarthak scoffed. You infiltrated our territory, built hidden colonies. In systems you had abandoned, Marcus interrupted, using resources you thought worthless. We didn't steal anything from you. We simply saw value where you saw nothing. And now we're offering to share what we've learned. He produced a small crystalline cube. This contains the solutions to your empire's three most critical problems: the plague affecting your outer colonies, your failing quantum communication network, and your increasingly unstable artificial sun. Problems you thought we didn't even know about. First speaker Kex's energy form pulsed with shock. Those issues were the Concordat's most closely guarded secrets. How did you? We've been watching, Elena said softly. Learning. Understanding. Not to exploit your weaknesses, but to help when the time was right. That time is now. Marcus placed the cube on the central podium. Your ultimatum, if issued, will be answered with one of our own. But we'd rather answer it with this: an offer of partnership, of genuine cooperation between our peoples. The choice is yours. The chamber erupted in arguments as various factions debated the implications. But first speaker Kix remained silent, their energy form shifting through complex patterns of thought. The humans had revealed not just their power, but their restraint. They could have struck at any time, exploited the Concordat's weaknesses, torn their civilization apart. Instead, they offered help. Perhaps, Kex thought, that was the most frightening revelation of all. Humanity hadn't just surpassed them technologically. They had outgrown the very impulses that the Concordat species still struggled with. They had achieved not just technological superiority, but a kind of wisdom that made their offer of peace all the more compelling. The ultimatum the Concordat had planned now seemed not just futile, but embarrassingly short-sighted. As Kex reached for the crystal cube, they realized that the real question wasn't whether humanity would join galactic civilization. It was whether galactic civilization was ready to join humanity. The Kraken Collective's warships emerged from hyperspace in a brilliant flash of light, their gunports already opening. Led by warlord Vexthar, the most notorious pirate fleet in the galaxy had come to exploit the chaos between humans and the Concordat. 500 ships strong, they expected an easy victory over the seemingly retreating human forces. They were wrong. Admiral Sarah Chen watched from the bridge of the Earth ship Nightshade as the pirates advanced toward what appeared to be a vulnerable human colony. Her dark eyes reflected the tactical displays, showing the Kraken fleet spreading out in their standard attack formation. Just like the simulations predicted, she murmured. They never could resist an easy target. The colony before them was real enough. 3,000 civilians living in a station built into an asteroid. But what the pirates saw as a hasty evacuation was actually the culmination of months of planning. All ships, execute Operation Labyrinth, Sarah commanded. The response was immediate. Throughout the sector, dormant quantum beacons activated, creating a complex web of intersecting gravity fields. The pirates' formation, so perfect moments ago, began to fragment as ships found themselves pulled in different directions. What sorcery is this? Vexthar's angry transmission cut through the command channel. Your pathetic tricks won't save you. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Interesting choice of words, Warlord. We've been studying your attack patterns for years. Did you really think we'd leave a colony vulnerable by accident? As if in response to her words, new signatures appeared on the tactical display. The asteroid field around them shimmered as hundreds of human stealth ships deactivated their cloaking systems. They had been there all along, waiting. You see, Warlord, Sarah continued, While the Concordat was watching Earth, we were watching everyone else. Learning. Analyzing. Your fleet has attacked 17 colonies in the past decade. We studied every raid, every tactic, every response to unexpected situations. The pirates found themselves trapped in a three-dimensional maze of gravity wells and quantum distortions. Every attempt to retreat led them exactly where the humans wanted them to go. The evacuation you detected, a signal to get your attention. The defensive weaknesses, carefully crafted. Even your approach vector was calculated weeks ago. You haven't been hunting us, Warlord. We've been hunting you. Vexthar's flagship attempted to jump to hyperspace, only to find their drives wouldn't engage. The human gravity web had them completely trapped. Impossible, Vexthar growled. No one could predict a species' actions this precisely. Sarah finished for him. That's where you're wrong. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our understanding of patterns, of psychology, of how different species react under pressure. The human fleet began to move with perfect coordination, each ship exactly where it needed to be. The pirates found themselves herded into an ever-tightening pocket of space, their every attempt at resistance turned against them. You're not just facing ships and weapons, Sarah explained, her voice almost gentle. You're facing decades of preparation. Every possible variation of this battle was simulated thousands of times. Every countermove you might make was accounted for. This isn't a fight, Warlord. It's a demonstration. The Nightshade's sensors detected multiple power spikes as pirate ships tried to bring their weapons online. But before they could fire, precision strikes from hidden human emplacements disabled their weapon systems without causing any casualties. We could have destroyed your fleet the moment you arrived, Sarah continued, but that's not our way. Instead, we're offering you a choice. Surrender, and your crews will be treated fairly. Resist, and... She paused. Well, we have contingencies for that too. To emphasize her point, more human ships decloaked, larger ones this time, carriers and dreadnoughts that made the pirate fleet look like toys in comparison. They had been positioned perfectly to counter any possible escape route. Vexthar's next transmission carried a different tone, one of dawning comprehension and fear. Your retreat, your evacuation, everything we've seen, was exactly what we wanted you to see, Sarah confirmed. A staged play where you performed exactly as expected. The Kraken Collective's reign of terror ends today, Warlord. The only question is whether it ends in peace or destruction. The tactical display showed pirate ships powering down their weapons one by one. Even Vexthar, notorious for his stubbornness, could recognize an unwinnable situation. As Sarah watched the pirates surrender, she knew this battle would send shockwaves throughout the galaxy. It wasn't just a victory, it was a message. Humanity hadn't just developed advanced technology. They had mastered the art of strategy on a level that made their enemies' defeat inevitable before the first shot was fired. The Concordat observers, watching from a safe distance, finally understood. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their ships or their stealth technology. It was their ability to turn their enemies' strengths into weaknesses, to shake the battlefield itself until victory was the only possible outcome. The age of straightforward space warfare was over. The galaxy would never be the same. 1 year after humanity's dramatic revelation to the galaxy, the Great Hall of Harmony on Earth hosted its first Interstellar Summit. Representatives from over 300 species gathered in the crystalline structure that seemed to float above the Pacific Ocean. The building itself was a testament to human ingenuity. Its transparent walls could withstand a nuclear blast, while its quantum architecture made it larger inside than outside. Director Marcus Chen stood at the central podium, addressing the assembled delegates. Behind him, through the hall's transparent dome, Earth's first public orbital ring glittered against the night sky, a band of light circling the planet. A year ago, many of you thought humanity was barely capable of reaching our own moon, Marcus began. Today, you travel to Earth through hyperspace corridors that make your old FTL drives seem primitive. Your ships dock at stations that were invisible to you for decades. You walk through buildings that defy your understanding of physics. The assembled delegates stirred uneasily. The past year had been one of profound change for galactic society. The revelation of human capabilities had sparked not just technological upheaval, but philosophical crisis among many species. But technology isn't why we gathered you here today, Marcus continued. We want to talk about the future. Your future. Our shared future. The main display activated, showing a map of the galaxy, but not like any the delegates had seen before. New trade routes, resource deposits, and habitable worlds appeared, places that conventional scanning had missed for centuries. Humanity's greatest gift isn't our technology. Admiral Elena Santos stepped forward. It's our perspective. We see possibilities where others see emptiness, solutions where others see problems. And most importantly, we see strength in diversity where others see only competition. The display shifted to show the results of the past year's cooperation. Dying stars stabilized by human quantum engineering. Plague-ridden worlds healed by hybrid medical techniques. Dead planets transformed into thriving colonies through technologies that marry human innovation with alien expertise. The old power structures are gone, Elena declared. The age of single-species dominion is over. We propose a new galactic order, not built on military might or technological superiority, but on cooperation and mutual growth. First speaker Kix floated forward, their energy form now stable and calm. You speak of cooperation, yet humanity still holds overwhelming military advantage. Your hidden fleets, your superior technology, are all being shared, Marcus interrupted. Openly. Completely. With proper safeguards, yes, but without reservation. Check your data feeds. The technical specifications for everything you've seen today are being transmitted to your governments now. The chamber erupted in shocked whispers as delegates confirmed his words. Humanity wasn't just offering cooperation. They were giving away the very advantages that had kept them safe. But why? A crystalline being asked. Why surrender your edge? Elena smiled. Because humanity's true edge never came from our ships or our stealth technology. It came from our ability to adapt, to innovate, to see connections others miss. By sharing our knowledge, we don't lose power, we gain partners. Together, we can achieve things none of us could manage alone. Marcus gestured, and the display showed new images, joint human-alien research projects, combined fleet exercises, integrated colonies where different species worked side by side. This is the future we see. Not human dominion, but true partnership, a galaxy where each species contributes its unique strengths to the whole. The Kraken Collective's former territories appeared on the map, now transformed into thriving trade hubs where reformed pirates worked alongside their former victims. The Concordat's failing systems pulsed with new life, their problems solved through combined human and alien expertise. The choice remains yours, Elena concluded. You can cling to the old ways. Competition, secrecy, the endless struggle for dominance. Or you can join us in building something new. Something greater than any single species could achieve alone. As the delegates began their discussions, Marcus and Elena watched from the podium. The next few hours would determine the galaxy's course for centuries to come. But they weren't worried. They had studied every species in that room, understood their hopes and fears, their dreams and ambitions. They'll agree, Elena said softly, not because we forced them, but because we showed them a better way. Marcus nodded. Humanity's greatest victory wasn't revealing our strength. It was proving we'd grown beyond the need to use it. Outside, Earth's orbital ring continued its eternal dance around the planet, a symbol of what was possible when human ingenuity was unleashed. But now it was no longer just a human achievement. It was a beacon, calling the galaxy's species together into a future brighter than any of them had imagined. The human era had begun, not with conquest or domination, but with an invitation to all species to join in creating something greater than themselves. In the end, that had been humanity's most surprising revelation. Not that they had surpassed the galaxy's civilizations, but that they had learned how to lift everyone else up with them.